Hi everyone. Today Salesforce Consulting and Admin Training Day 30. So let's see what are we going to learn today. We'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about automation journey in Salesforce, and we'll talk about the workflow rules, type of workflow rules, and what is the use case. We'll see one of the use case of the workflow rules and the limitations of the workflow rules, and then we will see the process builder and what are the different automation tools we have it, and what is the difference between the workflow versus process builder versus lightning flow. So quickly, what did we learn in last class, consulting and admin?
Lightning email.
Classic email template, lightning email templates, right? We have seen how to create an email template and how to test the email template.
Creating letterheads.
Yes.
Letterheads.
Yeah. So from today, we'll be focusing on automation tools. So let's move on, automation journey. So Salesforce, initially when it started, around 1993, they have started implementing the workflow rules, which is a very basic workflow rules, like a normal field update or kind of a thing. So normal basic workflow was there. Then later they have updated it to the modern era of workflow. That means there are different actions which we can perform it. In 2005, they have updated the workflow. Now, after that, after 10 years, in 2015, Salesforce has released a concept called Process Builder. So when they released a concept called Process Builder, everybody started using the Process Builder instead of a workflow. And few members were using still the workflow and few members were using the Process Builder. That time it was like it's an extension of workflow. So when it is introduced in 2015, everybody was using the Process Builder along with the workflow rules. Now, after that, after 4 years, so Salesforce has introduced lightning flows. It's just a startup of the lightning flows. Everybody started to learn the lightning flows, how to create a lightning flows. It was at the end of the 2019. End of the 2019 year, everybody started investigating the lightning flows. Then slowly they are improving the lightning flows. And in 2022, at the end of the 2022, they said that we are going to retire the process builder and workflow rules, but still Salesforce is going to support it. That means whatever is, there are some projects which are running since 2005. There are very, very old projects which are running since 2005. So for those projects, it's already implemented in workflow rule or process builder, whatever the automation like a workflow or process builder, whatever we have implemented. So they said that we are going to support it. That means if you have any issues in the workflow rule, we are going to support it. But ultimately, the plan is to retire the workflow rule and process builder. So, but by the end of 2015, by the end of 2025, Salesforce has a plan to completely stop even the Salesforce support based on the input from the clients. If clients still feel that, okay, we still need a workflows, maybe not process builder, but we need a workflows. So based on the 2025, whatever the inputs we will get it. So based on that, they will decide it whether we should be stop supporting the Salesforce or not. But right now we are in a stage where we can use the workflow, we can use the process builder. But say if you have any issues, like if you see that there is some emails are not going out or fields are not updating, or the automation tool is not working, either of one workflow or process builder. In that case, Salesforce is going to support you kind of fixing the alternate issue. But they will not take out your scenarios or functionalities from the workflows or process builder. Still, they are going to support it. So right now we are in a stage that where the Salesforce is supporting workflows and process builder, and it is suggesting to create a lightning flows. So that's the reason I'm going to quickly go through the workflows and process builder. Just at high level, what is the each one of them in the workflow, so that in case if you get into the any project, assume that there is a project which is running since log. So if you get into that project, assume that you got a job and the project is assigned, and in that project there might be possible that one workflow or process builder is created. So we need to research that process builder, or we got some issue on the process builder or workflow, how to test it, what do we need to cross verify. So in that case, you need to know what is the workflow, how to use the workflow, what is the process builder, how to use the process builder. So that's the reason I'm going to cover at the high level of the workflows and process builder, so that at least you can analyze the existing code, not creating the new code, but analyzing the existing code. So this is how the automation structure is in Salesforce. You take any automation tool, whether you take a workflow rule or a process builder or a lightning flows, any workflow tool, the logic or the functionality behind it almost same. Let's take an example of I have a product object. I have a product object. In that product object, I have a product number, product name, price, whether it is purchased or not. Let's assume that there are few records which are there here. Few records which are available here. Now let's assume that Mark has purchased an iPhone, or the toy he has purchased. Mark has purchased a toy. Some toy he has purchased, okay, by paying the 15,000. Now, when initially, this is similar like a Amazon. When you go to the Amazon, when you open a specific product, it will give you all the details about the product, and along with that, it will give a price, right? So as soon as I click on a button called that I'm going to purchase it, so I'll click on a purchase button. When I click on a purchase button, it will ask, do you want to pay now or a cash on delivery? Let's suppose that I have paid right now through the credit card. So Mark has paid the amount through the credit card. That means the Mark has purchased a toy and he paid a full amount. As soon as the Mark has paid full amount of the product, there are a couple of things that needs to be happen on the back end. The first thing is, that means as soon as he paid it, as soon as the Mark is paid it, the data has to be updated here. Initially, here the purchase date is, purchased is no. Initially, it is a no. Now, Mark has purchased it. So it has to be updated, this data, and whether he paid entire amount or is there any pending amount based on that price needs to be updated. That means you need to have a one more column here, balance. One more column, balance. Whether the Mark has paid complete, if it is paid complete, then what is the balance left? The balance is 0, because Mark has paid everything. In order to execute all of this at the back end, we need an automation tool. We need an automation tool, because in the automation tool, I need to update the records in the product object by linking the customer and by saying the purchased yes, and by balance is 0. So record needs to be updated, product record needs to be updated, and this customer has to link with the product. This customer has to link with product. So and then there is some emails that goes out. That means there are some actions which are happening immediately. There are some actions which are happening immediately. So I need a automation tool to perform some immediate action. Immediate action is like updating a fields in the product object, linking the customer data to the product, right? And updating the balance, whatever the balance is there, updating the balance. All these are immediate action. And then once I purchased it, I'll receive an email, right? Also, I receive an SMS saying that you have purchased so and so product and the balance is purchased amount is this and balance is 0, and when I'll receive the product. So all this information, I'll receive it. So those are the immediate action. As soon as I click on a purchase button, the immediate action has to be done to update the product record, and also it should send me the SMS and email. That is the immediate action. And also, there are some time-dependent actions. Time-dependent action. That means before purchasing a product, I'll receive an email saying that if the product is still in package or the product is still in Delhi, the person has picked up, right? Or he has just sent it, the dealer just sent the product. So whatever is happening is there are some dependent. Or if I take another example of bank, let's assume that I have a credit card. Okay, so the credit card bill is generated on 1st of every month. So whenever the credit card bill is generated, they will send an email with the attachment, how much amount do I need to pay. Now, what they will do is, before the end date of a payment, for example, 10 days before the end date, they will send one email, just a reminder email or SMS. You are yet to pay the bill. Like that, 5 days before, they will send another email. It's a reminder email, you are yet to pay the credit card bill. And 2 days before, 1 day before, on the day also they will pay that today is the last day that you have to pay an amount. And after 1 day, that means you cross the date that you need to pay the bill amount after 1 day after. So what they will do is, if you have not still paid it, then they will block your credit card, saying that you have not paid the previous amount. So these all actions are happening like a 10 days before an email, 5 days before an email, 2 days before an email, 1 day before one email, on the 0th day one email, after 1 day also another email saying that you have crossed your whatever the due date is there, you have crossed it. Now we are blocking your the credit card. So these all emails are the time dependent emails. So in Salesforce also, you take any automation, whether workflow, process builder, lightning flows, anything you take, there are two types of flows. One is an immediate action. Second one is a time dependent. Time dependent can be a kind of a scheduled. In workflows, we call it as a time dependent. In process builder, in lightning flows, we call it as a scheduled action. That means it is scheduled on this time, on this date, right? So kind of a scheduled as well as the immediate. So immediates are like updating the fields, balance equal to 0 and purchased amount, purchased equal to yes, and also updating the customer lookup field on the product object. That means linking the customer details to the product object. So these are the record level of update at the back end. And at the front end, we are sending an SMS and email. Similarly, for the time dependent or a scheduled action, like before 5 days before due date, I'm going to send an email. So assume that the Mark has not paid the amount here. In that case, Amazon going to give us an alert message that you are yet to pay the amount. Similarly, 2 days before, again, it will remind that your amount is still pending. 1 day before, due date is still pending. 0th day, due date still pending. 1 day before, 1 day after. So we are going to send another email and then we are going to close that cart. So in Amazon also, if you say that you select a product, in Amazon, you select a product. You select a product and that product, you mentioned that subscribe the product and you say that every 2 months deliver. Every 2 months deliver the same product. You can choose this. So usually for newborn babies. So for newborn babies, whatever we want the items, usually we order every 2 months in the Amazon, right? So if you select it automatically without forgetting anything for the newborn babies, you will get those. Whatever the necessary items are there, you will get it every 2 months. But here what Amazon does is once I select it, a month before, it will remind me saying that your product is about to deliver on this date. 1 month before it is going to alert me. Similarly, 20 days before also it is going to alert me saying that your product, this product is, you are going to get it in on this date. So because you have selected every 2 months, that should be there. And 10 days before also I'll receive it. And 2 days before also I'll receive an email. So Amazon is going to give me an alert in case 2 days after 2 days it is going to deliver. That means 2 days before it is sending me an email. If I see that if I have a product, it is not yet completed, now I can go ahead and cancel that product. So what will happen? It will stop sending me the emails, reminder emails. And after 2 months, again, it is going to start sending me this emails about that product. Right? So which I used to do it usually. So like that, we used to get an email. So, and we used to get whatever needed for the newborn babies, we can get it. So not only the newborn, any product you select to subscribe it, they will deliver on time. So this is how the time dependent emails, that where SMS and emails we get it. Right. So here we have, if you observe, these are a before concept and this is after concept. This is after concept. 1 day after. That means you have a concept of before insert, before update, after insert, after update. You have a concept called before and after, which is there with the workflows as well as the process builder. Process builder does not have, basically this, whatever we have this record. So once the data is updated in the record, then only you can send an email. That means which is after update, which is in workflows, it is a after update. That means after updating the record, then only we can send an email. So in workflows, it is after update. Similarly, process builder also after insert, after update. Whereas lightning flows, all of them we have it. So first we will see workflow rules. First we will see workflow rules. So workflow rules are used to automate a certain business process inside the organization. That means using the workflow, we cannot automate everything. Only certain business process we can automate. We will see what is the business process, because workflow has a limited actions that we can perform it. Limited action which we can perform it. And whenever we are creating the workflow is associated with the object. You can have only one object That means whenever I'm creating the workflow, the workflow has to be linked with only one object. But one object can have a multiple workflows. That means if I'm creating the workflow, this workflow has to link with only one object. But an object can contain multiple workflows. An object can contain multiple workflows. And workflows are divided into two types. One is an event, second one is action. One is an event and the second one is action. Event is nothing but, event is also called as an evaluation. Event is also called as evaluation. Event is also called as evaluation. That means what is the criteria or when the workflow should be fired. When the workflow should be fired. When workflow rule should be fired. When it should fire. Event is nothing but what is the event? When it should fire. We have to tell. That means is it during the insert or during the insert and update, or like whenever it is meeting the criteria only that time we wanted to update, right? So those are the different events we have. Those are the different events. So basically event is nothing but evaluation criteria when workflow rule should get fired. When the workflow rule should get fired. Whereas action is what action needs to be done. What action needs to be done. Needs to be done. So there are different actions are there. Like, do you want to send an email alert? Or do you want to update the field? Or do you want to create a task? Or do you want to send a message to the external system? External system. So what action needs to be performed? Like whenever this record is created, I wanted to update the field. Or whenever it is insert or updated, I wanted to send an email alert. So these are the different actions which we have. So event is when the workflow should be fired, and the action is nothing but what is the action that needs to be performed. And as I have mentioned, there are two types of workflow rules. One is a immediate action workflow, and the second one is time-dependent action. So immediate is nothing but fires the action immediately as soon as the condition is met. As soon as the condition is met, we are going to fire the action. And we can do this up to 40 actions per workflow. That means whether it could be an email alert, whether it could be a field update, whether it could be whatever the action, total actions per workflow. So if I have one workflow can have 40 immediate actions. You can have any action out of these 40 immediate actions. Time dependent is, it's basically based on the time period it is going to fire an action. Now let's see the use case. Configure a workflow to notify the hiring manager upon assigning a new position record to the HR person as below. So the scenario is, if you go to the position record, while creating the position record, we have to link hiring manager and HR details also we have to give. So whenever it is assign to HR, then we have to send an email to this email ID, HR email ID. So kind of a send an immediate email alert upon assigning the position record. Whenever I'm assigning the position record to the HR, send an email alert. Now configure the time dependent action as below, and then remind the HR person regarding the position close date. Because for example, I'm creating the position. Let's assume that JavaScript, I'm opening the JavaScript. And the JavaScript is getting the milestone. We have a milestone here. We have a milestone. There is a milestone here. So that means I'm assigning this position to the HR, and I'm telling that before this milestone, get the candidate inside the company. Get the candidate inside the company. Now, once it is assigned, from that moment till the end of the position, end milestone, like if it is milestone is a 30th of April. So before 20 days before or 10 days before, I wanted to send an email alert. 5 days before or 2 days before, 1 day before, 0th day before, 1 day after. So 1 day after, I'm simply going to change the position status to closed. That means it is already crossed the milestone. So what I'll do is I'll change this position status to closed. I'll not be doing manually. Through the workflow, we will be doing it. Through the workflow, we will be doing it. Now let's go ahead and see. While doing it, I'll be explaining each point in the workflow rules. Okay, so here, workflow, search for a workflow rules. Search for a workflow rules. So you will see here, there are workflow rules. It's just an alert message kind of a thing. You can ignore it. Go on. Now, whenever we are creating the workflow, we have an event. So event is the first step. We have to decide it. What is the evaluation criteria? What is the evaluation criteria? Like when this workflow should be firing it. When this workflow should be firing it. It is taking time. Okay, let me. So let's go to the setup. And let's search for workflow rules. Okay, so first screen, it looks like this. Okay, so all workflow rules. So you can basically click on here, new rule. So when you click on a new rule on the workflows, it is going to give you an alert message saying that because right now Salesforce has decided to retire the workflow and process builder. So that's the reason it's not suggesting to create a new workflow rule currently. So if you want to create a new workflow rule, you can better go to the flow builder. But still, if you want to go with the workflow rule, continue with the workflow rules. Now, whenever we continue with the workflow rule, the first step is it is asking me to select the object. So the object which we need is position object, because whenever the position is created and assigned to hiring manager, that's how I wanted to send an email. Position, click on it next. Now, right now I'm going to create a So send an email alert upon assigning the new position record. So that means it's a new position record. Now, here is the evaluation criteria. Here is the evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria is basically when to fire the workflow rule. So there are three type of events are there. One is created, and the second one is a created and every time edited. And the third one is a created and anytime it is edited and meeting the subsequent criteria. The first one created is nothing but when I'm creating the new record. Created and every time edited is whenever I edit or whenever I create a new record inside the object or when the record has been updated inside the object. Basically, it is after insert and after update, I wanted to fire this event. Now, the third one is anytime it is edited and meeting the subsequent criteria. That means it will fire the event only whenever it meets the criteria. Once a new record has been created successfully inside the object and will fire the workflow rule upon updating the record which meets the specified condition. Whenever it meets the subsequent criteria, if it is a true, then only we are going to fire this event. Now, second one is there is no condition here. Anytime it is like every time whenever you are editing and updating, every time it is going to fire it. So third one is anytime if you are meeting this criteria, then we are going to fire it. So that's the three options we can see in the second step. Evaluation criteria. So here is the evaluation criteria. Created, and every time it is edited, created, and any time it is edited to subsequent meet criteria. So right now, I'm going to select it as a created. Only during the creation of the record, I'm going to fire it. Now, what should be the criteria here? What should be the criteria? Now, HR email should not be there. HR email should not be null, because whenever I'm creating a new record, I need this data, right? I need this data, and as well as hiring manager should be there. And position status is new. That means it's a new record. So what I'll do is position HR email ID not equal to null, and position status equal to new. Right? These two are the criteria that I'm going to keep it. These two are the criteria that I'm going to use. Right? And milestone date also we can keep it, because we are looking at the milestone date not equal to null. So here value nothing means it's a null. Now I'm done with criteria are met. Now you can define how you want your logic. Right now I'm saying 1 and 2 and 3. That means all three conditions should be matched. All three conditions should be true. If I say here or, that means 1 and 2 or 3. Either these two conditions should be met or this should be met. So or is nothing but whether this or this. Now this is perfectly fine. I'll click on it, save and next. Click on it, save and next. Now it says here the condition, rule, criteria, email, HR email not equal to null, position status equal to new, and milestone date not equal to null. Milestone date not equal to null. Now what is the thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to send an email alert. Send an email alert. Now, if I wanted to send an email, that means this is the one, action. Event is done. Now I have to decide the action. Inside this action, we have 4 different types are there. 4 different actions are there. 4 different actions. New task is nothing but basically we are creating a task inside the object or creating a task for the user. Or we can assign a task to the required user. Email alert is nothing but sending an email to the user, whoever the email ID is there for them, I'm sending an email. Field update is on the record level, whichever the field that I'm updating it. Outbound message is nothing but sending a message to the external system. Usually this is used in the integration part. So we can send XML based SOAP message. We can send XML based SOAP message to the external system, right? It's kind of a third party system. Now these are the different actions we can do. Right now I'm going to do the new email alert. Right now I'm going to do the new email alert. Now, if you observe here, new email alert description. It's giving me the description. Now what I'm doing it, I'm creating an email alert with the help of email template. I'm creating an email alert with the help of email template. Now I can say here, new position record. Now I have a different email templates. I have a different email templates. Now new, which one is the right one? Something it starts with new. Now I wanted to see only my folder. New customer record. Let's select new customer record. Is that the one? Let me go and check. Email template, classic email template, open. Now, in the classic email template, I'll select my folder. I have creating a position record actually. So it should be a creating position record. Right, so creating a position record, position, hiring manager name, position ID, position name. So I'll go to the email template, I'll delete this. It's a customer record. Salesforce, creating a position record. Now, next one is a recipient type. Which recipient type? So on Salesforce object, on this here in the position record, I have a email ID, which is a HR email ID. I have a email ID, which is a HR email ID. So what I'll do is I'll select the email field. I'm selecting the email field. Then I can see the HR email ID, push it to the add. Push it to the add. Now this is a to address. The recipient is to address. So this is the to address. And in the workflow rule, we can also add a CC address maximum of 5 records. Maximum of 5 records. So I'm adding samskarit@gmail.com. Now click on save. Now what I have done, immediate action is completed. Inside the immediate action, we created a type of action is email alert. We created a type of action is email alert. If you want to update a field, you can go to create a new field update. You can click on the action called new field update. Let's suppose I wanted to update. Let's say I wanted to update the position status from new to in progress. So update position status. Now you can see all the, what are the position records are there, those position records you can see. Position records you can see. Now here position status, and it's a pick list. I'll say in progress. In progress. Now field update can be happen on the same object. Field update can happen on the same object or from the child to parent. From the child to parent. Now here I have a record. Hiring manager is the record. I cannot see anything. So cross field is not available here. Cross field is not available. HR contact number is there, but that's not the right. I need a so like I'll see the owner. But I have a field called hiring manager. I have a field called hiring manager. So I cannot see hiring manager here. Hiring manager, I cannot see. So basically it is a same object data I'm able to field, I'm able to update it. So I'm updating the position status, specific value. So I'm updating to the in progress, click on a save. Click on it, save. So action, a workflow rule can have a one or more actions. Salesforce provides the below type of actions to be automated through the workflow. Email alert, field update, assigning a task, outbound messages. Email alert is nothing but to send an email notification to the whoever the person is there, the email ID. Prerequisite says we need an existing email template. You cannot create an email template here. You cannot create an email template, right? So I have choose the email template here. So whenever I am creating it, I have chosen it. I cannot create an email template here. Field update is to update the field value from old value to the new value. Each field update action is used to update only one field. I cannot update the multiple fields. I cannot update the multiple fields. So if I go here, if I edit this field update, how many fields I can update? Only one field, which is a position. Now I cannot add multiple fields. I cannot add it here. Multiple fields, I cannot add it. Only one field which is possible in the workflow rule. Right. The next one is to update the multiple fields. We have to add a multiple field update. Every time I need to create an action called field update and I have to select a new field. So which makes the workflow complex and will impact on the application performance. So that's the reason if you have a multiple field updates, do not go with the workflow rule. It is always recommended to go with the other option, either process builder or a lightning flows or a Apex programming. If you have a multiple field updates are there. And the third one is assigning a task. Basically, by using this, we can assign a task record to the required user. It's kind of a alert message. Like for example, if you have a meeting, if there is a meeting that is scheduled, so before 15 minutes, you will get an alert message saying that there is a meeting, right? So kind of a alert message, user will get it like every 15 minutes or whatever the setup is there. They will get much before the meeting, they will get a kind of a alert message. Outbound message is nothing but to send a message to the external system. To send a message to the external system or third-party system in the format of XML-based SOAP message. In the format of XML-based SOAP message. Right? So those are the action one. Those are the action workflows. Next one is a time dependent. Next one is a time dependent. So time dependent means, as we have already discussed. So time dependent is, it is going to tell you that on basically specified time period. Let's assume that I'm adding a time trigger here. Now, time trigger has number of days here. Numbers are available. You can give any number here. And the second one is days and hours. Second one is days and hours. And the third one is after or before. And what should be the rule criteria? Rule trigger date, position, whatever the date is there, you can select it. Let's assume that I wanted to fire an email alert before the 5 days. Before the 5 days. 5 days before of the position milestone date. So let's click on a save. Now, it is created the 5 days before position milestone date. It created the 5 days before milestone date. Again, I wanted to create another time dependent trigger. So this time I'm going to say 2 days before. 2 days before of milestone date. Click on a save. Another time dependent workflow is added. Again, one more I'm going to add 0 days before milestone date. Click on it, save. Now it is added the 0 days before. And I wanted to add another time dependent trigger here. So add time trigger. Now this time 1 day after milestone date. Click on a save. Now after milestone date, I wanted to update the position status to the closed. Now in the time dependent workflow rule, whenever you are adding a time dependent, along with that, you can add a workflow actions as well. Along with the time dependent, that means on this day, whenever this is executed. So on this day, I wanted to update a field. So new field update. Let's say here I'm updating the position status. Now I'm updating the position status. Position status. Just a second. Position status, I wanted to update it as a closed and click on save. Now I have created the immediate action as well as I have created the time dependent workflow. Both of them I have created. Both of them I have created it. Right, so we have added the field update in the last one day after. And in case if you want to choose the existing one, you can click on this, select the existing one, the one which are created on top. If you want to perform the same action after this time dependent, so that case you can use the select existing action. Any question? Any questions till now? Any questions? Anybody? Okay, so now we have created the immediate action and time dependent. So rule criteria is when the position is created. Evaluation criteria is when the record is created, and the rule is HR email ID not equal to null, position status equal to new, and position milestone date not equal to null. These are the conditions. Yeah.
How many mails we can use data? We can send how many mails?
So basically here, as per the workflow rule, 40 actions you can do it. That includes the email alerts also. If you are creating the action for the email alert, so 40. It's not per user. We are not asking per user. We are, I'm giving here records can be created. And how
40.
many alerts can be sent? Is that the question?
Yeah, that's.
Yes, how many email alerts we can send it? We have already discussed.
We have 5 that is in CC.
Yes, CC.
We had, but main like we have sent the main user. Like that, we can send at a time 10 numbers, 10 different emails.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yeah. You can send it. Basically, you can put it in the CC and you can, whoever is involved, you can send it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on. So now we have created this. Now step 3 is completed. I'll click on it, done. Once it is completed, so it will take me back to the original. Now, if you look at this workflow is, again, it is giving me the information. So with the flow builder, you can do this low code automation. Now, so here, this is the workflow rule details, whatever we have created and what are the immediate actions and what are the time dependent action, everything it is giving me here. Now, in order to fire this workflow, we need to activate the workflow. If you do not activate the workflow, we cannot fire this workflow. So I'll click on activate. As soon as I click on activate, so the activate field checkbox. Now, here the default user. So basically it is asking me the process automation setting. The default workflow user is required for the scheduled path because we did a time dependent. Right? So for the time dependent, then they are asking to give us the user. So I'm giving the user, same user I'm giving, DC batch. That's it. And I'll click on it, save. Now I can see this workflow rule is active. Workflow rule is active. Now what I'll do is I'll go to the Salesforce, clone this record, and I'll update the position name. Let's say JavaScript. JavaScript, number of vacations 4 and location is Hyderabad. Milestone opening date is today. And the end date is let's give it as 30th. And this is the minimum, maximum, and let's give here email ID. @gmail.com. Travel is required and passport is required. Position description require 4+ years of experience in JavaScript. Click on save. position JavaScript is, see here, status is updated to in progress. Status is updated to in progress. So I might have received an email. We created the position as a new, but workflow rule is firing it. After the firing the workflow rule, it is updated the position status to in progress. Updated the position status to in progress. So position name is JavaScript and this is the ID. And just 0 minutes ago, we have received it. That's about the workflow rules. Homework, configure a workflow rule on the case object to notify the case owner upon creating a new high priority case record. That means status is equal to new and priority equal to high. So whenever you are creating a new case with the status equal to new and the priority equal to high, then we need to send a notification email to the case owner. And there are limitations with the workflow rule. So by using the workflow rule, we can automate the below 4 actions. We can send an email alert, we can assign the task to the user, we can update the field in the record, and we can send an outbound message to the external system. These are the 4 actions which we can perform it. But can I perform a delete, undelete, all the DML operations? We cannot able to do all the DML operations. Basically, using the workflow won't support all the DML operation to be performed object record. Now you can say that there is a field update is there, but the field update is only one field I can update it. Per action, only one field I can update. If I have to update the 50 fields, I cannot do it through the workflow rule because maximum I can create a 40 fields, 40 actions I can create it. That means if I'm creating the field update, 40 actions, then I can update only 40 fields. I cannot update more than that. And we cannot perform the delete, undelete, insert, nothing is going to be possible. So DML on the multiple fields, it is not supported in the workflow. So, and also cross object field, we cannot update it. Cross object field, we cannot update it. In case if you have a master details association between the two objects, then only from the child you can update the parent. If you have a lookup relationship, you cannot update the child to parent. So basically you have a child record. So you have a child record and the parent record. If the relation is between these two is master detail relationship, then you can update the field from child to parent. From child to parent. If it is a lookup relationship, you cannot update it. If it is a lookup relationship, which is not possible. Only the relationship which is possible if you have implemented a relationship with a master detail. Right now we have seen the position and hiring manager. So we could not able to see because it's a lookup relationship. If you have a master detail relationship, if you are in a child object, you can update the parent object from the child. Now let's move on. So as these limitations were found in 2015, Salesforce has released another called Process Builder. Another feature called Process Builder. So to overcome the limitation of the workflows, Salesforce has introduced a new functionality, new automation tool called Process Builder. So Process Builder is also automation tool. It's a more of a graphical representation tool. Like in the workflows, if you go to the workflows, you do not have a graphical. So everything you need to enter, right? You need to enter the where condition and all the conditions you need to enter. Basically, it's kind of a classic view. It is, though you are in a lightning, but workflow rules are like a classical view. So process builder is, they came up with more of a graphical representation tool, because that time only the lightning was introduced from the classic to lightning. So they have introduced graphical representation tool, which is used to automate the complex operations inside the organization. So it supports all the workflow rules except the outbound message. Outbound message is not possible through the process builder. You can do it. There is a way to do it, but like a straightforward, it is not possible. There is a different way, like you have to call the Apex class and then you can do it. But direct way, like a workflow has a option called as a send outbound message. So that option is not available in the process builder. Direct, you cannot send it. Direct, you cannot send it. So process builder supports the different actions. So process builders also has a two things. Process builder also has a two things. One is evaluation, which is an event, and second one is an action. Evaluation is going to ask you when you wanted to fire this process builder. When to fire process builder, and action is which action needs to be performed. Which action needs to be performed. Which action needs to be performed. It's like an email alert or updating the record or a fields, creating a record, creating a new record, or creating a related record, right? Or there are different actions which are there. It's basically, what are the action that needs to be performed? Similar like a workflow also, process builder also has a two types, evaluation and a action. Now, process builder has a more actions compared to the workflow rule. So it has a email alerts, create a record. Email alerts is what kind of a emails alert that needs to be sent. Create a record, like if you wanted to create a new records, new related records or related object. Like example, I'm creating a account record. Whenever I create an account record, the related contact record should be created automatically. In that case, you can go for a create a record. So then updating the record could be a same record or could be a parent or a child record, and post to charter. Like through the process builder, whenever you go to the here in the home page, you have a charter options are available. So kind of this alert message. Let me show you in the classic. Classic will be. So we have a charter groups. Okay. So kind of see, this is the charter group, like this charter. So if somebody wants to post it and assign to the specific user, in that case, you can post it here in the charter group and you can assign that chart to a specific person. Triggering the Apex code, you can trigger the Apex code, submit a record for approval, send a customer notification. If you want to send any notification, invoke a flow. Basically, you wanted to call a flow from the process builder, invoke a process. That means you wanted to call another process builder from the first process builder, add a quick action if you wanted to add a quick action through the process builder. So these are the different actions which are available with the process builder. Let's see the use case. With the use case, I'll explain all those steps. So configure a process builder, configure a process on the hiring manager object to notify the hiring manager upon creating a new HR record in the object with the designation called HR manager. So that means whenever I'm creating the hiring manager record, and if I specify the designation equal to hiring manager, then I wanted to receive an email. So let's say that I have a hiring manager. So inside the hiring manager, if I'm creating a new record, so while creating the new record, if I say designation equal to HR manager and I'll click on save, so it should send me an email alert. Send me an email alert. So that is the first thing which we are going to see. Now, let's go to the Salesforce. No. Okay, so here in the setup, search for a process builder. Search for process builder. Before going to the process builder, I just wanted to show one option, which is a email. There is a option called email log files. Email log files. So this is basically, it will give you what are the emails that went through this organization from last 30 days. What are the emails that went in last 30 days? You can receive an email. If you click on a request an email log, it will generate, it will ask you the start time and end time. If I give 3:27, what was the last? Yeah, so let me take it as a 3:26. And I'm going to say that, okay, notify me in this email. Submit the request. Period is too long. Only 7 days. Okay, so let's take this. Now click on it, submit. Now, there is a email that went. If I open my Gmail account, in real time, if we have any issues with the Gmail email things, because sometimes customer says that we have not received any emails. We have not received any emails. So in that case, this is the way that we will check it in the real time. This is the way we will check it in the real time. So what we do is we request for the email to our email ID. So it is still processing it. So seems like it is going to take time. So we will get these emails. Okay, now I have received an email. Now here, if you click on this, there is an email that will come. So the email log search request submitted. So once you click on that, it opens up and you can click on it, download. You can click on it, download, and you can view all the emails. What are the emails that are went? All the emails that went to the customers, you can preview that. So it will give all the information. So this is the email that I have received just now for 3/20/23. See here, it will give all the information. Who is the sender? Who is the recipient? Right? And also it will give what are the, which IP address I have sent it, remote host, bytes transferred, how many bytes it is transferred, and what is the user name, user ID, and what is the message ID, and retry count. Sometimes what happens is, because of their IP address restriction or possible that the person has resigned from the company. So there is a possibility that we will try to send it 3 times. So automatically that will happen. So it says here how many times it is retried to send that person. And second, in a queue, how much it went, like how much time it is in the queue, and what is the deliver stage, what is the deliver stage, and relay address. If there is any relay address, it will give you. So we will try to monitor this. Okay, we will try to. So here it is a mail event received, delivered, received, delivered. So we will, in case if there is a person who says that, okay, I have not received an email, we can monitor it from the email log and we can get the details saying that, okay, here it says that you have received it. Maybe it is possible that it went in their spam email. So that's how we analyze it. That's how we analyze it sometimes. So in case if you have those scenarios, if you wanted to get the email log files, you can go to the email logs. So which is available in the environment, email logs, below the debug logs. Below the debug logs, we have a email logs. Now, next move on to the process builder. Now click on a process builder. Now, when you click on a process builder, now here it's some information it will give, but just click on a new button. So on top, if you observe, it is suggesting me kind of a warning message. It's saying that go for a flow builder or try to migrate the flow. Right? So right now they are giving kind of a alert. Now let's go ahead and create a new. So whenever we are creating a new, again, it will give you the alert message. So, but let's go with the creating process builder. Now, so right now we are creating a process builder to creating a hiring manager. So new hiring manager record, new hiring manager record, new hiring manager record. This is the API name. Then scroll down, description. If you want to add and you can add it. Now this is the event evaluation criteria. When your process builder should fire on record change or on platform event message is received, it is invoked by another process. That means another process builder is calling you. Whenever another process builder calls you, then only fire this process builder. Or else, whenever the record is created or updated, deleted, undeleted, whatever action is happening, whatever the changes are happening on the record level, if you wanted to fire this process builder, select this a record change. Click on a save button. Once you click on a save button, you will see graphical representation too. Like you will see start, add object, add criteria, true, immediate action. If you have a time, scheduled action. And if it is a false, then go down, right? And then you can do next action. If you have, you can do it. So these all are the graphical representation. So if you click on here, add object, it will open details here. Right? If you click on add object, it will open and you can see all the object here. If you type hiring manager, it will give you the hiring manager. Now it is asking that only when a record is changed or when record is created and updated. It's kind of a sub-evaluation. Do you want to fire this only when the record is created, or do you want to fire this record when a record is created as well as the edited? So right now we are only going with the created. There is an additional one is also there, advanced recursion. That means allow process to evaluate the record multiple times. If you want to hit this process multiple times, then you can select this. Right now, I do not want, I'm going with the only when the record is created. Now click on a save. So once you click on a save, here this is getting updated with the details. Now I'm going to add a criteria. Criteria is object with the designation is HR manager. So I'll check, I'll say that you can add any details here, check hiring manager details. Now, when the conditions are met, then only go on the immediate action. When the formula evaluation is true, then only go inside it. And no criteria, basically no, there is nothing is there, simply do the immediate action. It's kind of a no criteria, no condition is, nothing is there. Just go ahead and execute it simply. Now, if you say condition is, I wanted to check hiring manager designation. Hiring manager designation, select, choose it, and equals to pick list. Then I'm going to say HR manager. HR manager. Now, if you have a multiple fields, that means I want first condition is I wanted to check designation as well as I wanted to check email address also. So what I'll do is I'll check hiring manager and then I need an email address. Email address should not be null. Now here I cannot leave the blank. I cannot click on. So basically null is a not right way to do that. Instead of that, what you can do is if you click on a type, there is a different types are available. String, field reference, global constant, formula. Now, if you select a global constant, you will get two options here. One is a null or empty. So just select the null. So global constant are null or empty. Anytime you wanted to check the null or like you wanted to check the field is not equal to null or field is not equal to empty, then go for the global constant. Now select here null. And do you want to add both the condition and condition or a or condition, or do you want to customize it? So I'm going with the and condition, click on save. So that's my condition. Now condition is done. Now what should be the immediate action? Immediate action is I wanted to send an email alert to the HR hiring manager email ID. Now I'll select the action type here, email alert. When I select the action type, it will just ask me the action name. What should be the action name? So I'll say that HR email alert. HR email alert. Now, if you observe here, what is asking here? Email alerts. But I do not have an email alerts. I have a email templates. Now, if I try to find my email template, like there is an email template. So if I click on a setup and if I go to the email template, let's go to my folder. Now I have a onboard notification. I guess this is the hiring manager one. Yeah, this is the hiring manager. Now, if I try to search this template in the process builder, I cannot find it. Because it is not asking the email template. It is asking the email alert. That means the first step before creating the process builder, we should create an email alert. I should have an email alert here. So search here email alerts, click on a email alerts. When you click on email alerts, click on continue. Now, here, click on a new email alert. Now, what are we creating? New hiring manager, new onboarding notification alert. Now, object is hiring manager. Object is hiring manager. Email template. It is asking me the email template. Email template is, let me select my folder, onboarding notification. Now the user is, you can select email field, whatever the email address is there. On the hiring manager, I have an email field called email address. So that's the same field I'm giving here. Maximum of 5 CC email address you can add. Right, so you can add maximum. Let's click on save. Now I have an email alert called onboarding notification alert. Let's go here. Let me search it. No, I did not get it. So let me refresh. Maybe I should not be losing anything here. Okay. Let me go back to the process builder. Now click on add action. I'm selecting the email alerts and the action aim is HM email alert. And find an email alert. I'll select this. Still did not find it. API name onboarding notification alert. So now I have a API name of the email alert. Click on save. Click on save. Now I'm done with my work. Configure a process on hiring manager object to notify the hiring manager upon creating a new HR record object with the designation of HR manager. So that's what we have implemented. Once we have implemented the process builder, just click on here, activate it. Just click on activate it in order to activate the process builder. Now, here, if you click on a view all process, you will go back to the process builder here. In the process builder, you will see all the versions. Now, if you modify anything to this, okay, if you modify anything to this, it will be created new version here. I'll show you that. Just let's test the hiring manager here. Before that, let me deactivate the workflow here. I think we have created the workflow on position, right? So that should not impact. Now here we have a process builder on the hiring manager. It is active. This is a process type is a record change. Object is a hiring manager. Now I'm going to create a new one. Hiring manager name is Swapna Salesforce. Designation or current CTC is, let's take some number. Designation here, HR manager, and the location is Hyderabad or Bangalore. Let's give it as Hyderabad. Contact number, some number. And the email address, I'll go for Samskar IT. @gmail.com. Perfect. Now we have all the information. I'll click on a save button. As soon as I click on a save button, I should be receiving an email. I should be receiving an email. Now let me go and check. Okay, I have received it. It says that congratulations, Swapna Salesforce, and welcome on board. Thanks for joining our organization, Swapna Salesforce, Hyderabad. And this is about the hiring manager details. This is about the hiring manager details. Okay, so that's the email. Any questions before moving on? I'm going to explain few more scenario. So another scenario is configure a process on the account object to create a related contact record for the account and synchronize the account record details into the contact record. That means whenever you are creating the account object, create a related record of the contact. Like account condition, you need to cross verify account industry equal to banking and active equal to yes. So there is a custom field which is provided by the Salesforce. So active equal to yes. So once these two are qualified, then I have to create a contact record from the process builder. So contact last name, I'm going to take it from the account name. Contact business phone, I'm going to get it from the account phone name. Contact email, I'm going to get it from the account email. And the contact account name equal to account.id. Whatever the ID is there, that ID. Because the last one is I need to link the new contact to the account, whatever we have created. So this is the how I'm going to create it. So let's create a new one. New, continue in process builder, new contact record. Now description, new contact record. Now I'm going to say that a record change, click on save. Now add object should be account, because on creation of the account, I'm creating the contact record. So click on a save. And the condition is check account status. Let's give it as a status. Now conditions are met. So you can select here account, industry, choose it and equals to pick list value and account equal to industry. I do not have industry.
Banking.
Banking. Okay, banking. Right. So account industry equal to banking. If you do not want a pick list, if you want to go with the field reference, what you can do is you can use the field reference or you can use the formula field. So kind of a field reference, we will see that, but formula field is similar to the what we have learned the formula field. So in another class, we have seen the formula field. So whenever you say formula, it is going to give you the formula field here. So basically, if you wanted to say account, industry, so you are going to build the details here. Choose that is the field. We have a different functions here, which are the function you wanted to use it. Like we have a advanced date time, logical, math, text, similar to the formula field. And we have a system variables. System variables are user, custom label, organization, permission, system users. These are the system variable. And what are the operators are available? All these operators. So it is similar like a formula field. Similar like formula field. That is the industry equal to banking. Then I'm going to check active. Active, choose it, equal to pick list, yes. And then and condition, let's click on a save button. Now that is the condition that I'm going to check it. Immediate action is I wanted to create a record. Which record I wanted to create? New contact record. New contact record. Record type. Now record type is contact. I'll choose the contact. Now here field. Record type, record type. Why do I have a record type? So it should be different contact. Okay, so I'm creating the contact record and the last name is equal to string. Either I can mention like a one name here. Either I can mention any name here or else I do not want to mention the name because every time whenever account is created, every time it will be created with the Ram Gopal. Instead of that, what I'll use is I'll use the formal field reference. I will use field reference. Contact last name equal to account name. Choose it. So last name equal to account name. And then I need a business phone number. Business phone, field reference, account phone number. Right, click on choose, add email, contact email, contact email, field reference, account email. So contact email equal to account email. Or email I do not have. Okay, that should be fine. And then account ID equal to field reference. I'll choose account ID. Choose. Do I have a different? Let's see if I select a select account. Account ID, choose it. Now click on save. Right, so that's all the information. Now I'll click on activate it. Now I have activated it and click on view all references. Now new contact has a version 1. Now I made some changes here. So I wanted to make some changes. Basically I wanted to update the new contact record. So what I'll do is I'll open up this. You have to clone it. You cannot modify this. So if you click on this, you cannot modify. Once it is active, you cannot modify anything here. So for that, you need to clone it. And the same thing, click on it, save. Once it is done, now I'll go to here. Now select account, I'll say account ID. So field reference equal to account ID. Now click on choose. Now click on it, save. I'll click on activate it. Now this time, when you click on a view all processes, you can see two versions here, version 1 and version 2. So always the latest one, the lowest ones are down, the latest one are in the upside direction, and the latest one has to be active and the old ones are should be inactive. and there will be an option which will come here, delete. If you click on this delete, it will be deleted from your version history. So maximum you can create a 50 versions, I guess. So yeah, 50 versions you can create it, not more than that. So in that case, what we will do is in the real time, whatever the older ones are there, we will keep on deleting it so that it will reduce it. So right now it says 1, 2. If I delete it, it will think as a only version 1 is available. Only version 1 is available. Now this is active. Let me go to the Salesforce, click on account. Once we click on account, let me create a new one. Now account is let's give it as a Dubai and phone number, some number. And then what else I need? Phone number. Industry has to be banking. And active status should be yes. Then in that case, account name, account phone. That's all. Account name, account phone. So I'll click on save. So right now the Dubai account is created. If I go to the related list, see another contact is also created. Another contact is also created. Contact is created with the same name of the account. So contact is created here. And this is the contact with the same details, phone number and account number, and it is linked to the account. Like that, you can create or you can automate your process. You can automate your process. And if you have any scheduled actions, what you can do is you can go to the option called time dependent, time-based workflow. There is something called time-based workflow. So usually any automation, whether it is a workflow, process builder, or a flows, anything, if there is any time dependent or a scheduled actions are there, you can do it through the workflows, process builder, flows, object, schedule date created by, you can select any of them and then you can click on a search. When you click on a search, it will give you that what are the time dependent action when it is going to perform it. So these are for the workflow rule. We have created a time dependent for the workflow rule, right? So workflow rule, I have created it and the end date I have given a 4:30. 4:30 I have created it. So this is a 5 days before and this is a 2 days before and on the same day and after 1 day. After 1 day, this is how it is going to fire the event. Now, if I click on this, it is going to take me that which record and which record and which workflow it is going to fire. So the workflow is and this is the workflow it is going to fire it and this is the record it is going to fire it. That's how it is showing me the details. Let's assume that if I'm deleting the record, what will happen to the time dependent one? What will happen to these records? Whatever the scheduled time is there, if I delete this record, what should happen? If I delete this record, all the time-based workflows should be deleted. Click on refresh. All the time-based workflow should be deleted. It's not only with the workflow, with the process builder also same thing. Now nothing is there because we have deleted the record here. There is nothing is there, right? In case if I move back from recycle bin here. Let's say that I'm going to revert. I'm going to revert it from the recycle bin. If I revert it, will my time dependent or a time based workflows are there? Will that come back? So now the JavaScript is restored. Now if I go to the position object, I can see the JavaScript record. I can see JavaScript record. But if I go to the time here, time-based workflow, let's click on a refresh. Click on a search. You cannot see it. You cannot see. That means only during the record creation that has to be done. So when you reverted it, the action will not be done. It cannot be fire the deleted one again back to the time-based. So homework for the process builder, configure a process on the position object to notify the HR upon creating the new position record in the object with the position status equal to new. That means notify the HR person whenever you are creating the position status. Whenever you are creating the position status equal to new, notify the HR email ID, whatever the field is there, notify that person. Another one, create a process on the lead object to notify the lead person upon creating a new lead record with banking industry and the Hyderabad city. City should be Hyderabad. So you need to mention few conditions here. Lead email not equal to null, lead industry equal to banking, lead city equal to Hyderabad. So these are the conditions you need to check it in the process builder. Now coming to the automation tool. So far we have seen the workflows and process builder. So workflow is bit straightforward. Like you have to say what is the event and what is the condition and what needs to happen action. So which is a straightforward. Process builder is like you have a couple of conditions which are available. This is a object you are giving here and what is the condition you are mentioning here. This is an object and what is the condition and what is the immediate action or what is the scheduled action. And if it is a yes, this side, if it is a no, below. And again, we have a condition, we have an immediate action and we have a scheduled action. So like this, we have a process builder. That's the difference between the workflow and process builder. Workflow, you do not have a multiple conditions here. You do not have multiple conditions to check here. You have only one condition, you have it, and you can update only one field. You can update only one field. You cannot update multiple fields in the workflow action. Coming to the lightning flow has a multiple ways to update it. So during the creation of lightning flow, you will specify here the object, the condition will be here. If it is a yes, execute this. If it is no, execute this. If it is a no, check again the condition. Again, check the details here. And after checking this, again, check the condition. Now, this option is not available in the process builder. You can check only the condition here and then you can perform the action. But after performing the action, if you wanted to do that, you have to go with the immediate or continuous action. So you need to come back to the below here, right? You need to come back to the below here. Let's suppose that you have this condition here. If it is a yes, and also if it is a no, I wanted to check this condition. In the no time also, I wanted to check another condition here. These complicated scenarios, which is not possible through the process builder. Complicated scenarios which are not possible through the process builder and workflow. So this is how the difference between the workflow, process builder, and the lightning flow. Workflow is pretty easier, simple, straightforward, but less limitations are there. Process builder is a more information which I can do it. But if I have a few complicated scenarios, which I cannot do it through the process builder. Lightning flows are like a additional more access or kind of a complicated scenario. Or if you, instead of going with the Apex, so in the process builder, what we do is we will do some actions here and we will call the Apex class here, right? Instead of calling the Apex class and doing the actions there, you can perform directly in the lightning flow without calling the Apex logic. So the complicated scenarios, basically, instead of handling in the Apex side, in order to make the admin team more comfortable rather than coding it. So what we can do is we can go with the lightning flows and we can implement the logic here so that admin team can handle or can modify this lightning flows. So if you observe more in detail between the workflow process builder and the lightning flows, so workflow is after insert and after update. Process builder is also after insert and after update. Whereas lightning flow is all the operations, like you can create, record, create a record, update a record, delete a record, modify a record, undelete a record, everything can be performed using the lightning flows. And through the workflow, you can do send an email, create a task, field update, outbound message. Through the process builder, it's a add-on to the workflow, except the outbound message. Apart from that, you can create a record, launch a flows, post a charter, invoke Apex, invoke flows, invoke a process builder. Lightning flows is, it's a additional feature of the process builder. That means it's having a both features of the workflows and process builder, and plus few more information, like you can create record, update a record, delete a record, undelete a record, and you can launch another flow. You can iterate through the multiple records, and you can record list, the collection of list, you can get it in the lightning flow. So here you can get only one record. So here you can get collection of records and you can iterate through the collection of records at a time in the lightning flows. So this is the main difference between the workflow process builder and lightning flows. Any questions?
Swapna, can we update based on timeline in process builder? I mean, in workflows we did, right? Based on selection date, plus or minus dates, we can update at the some fields, right? Can we do using process builder also?
Yes, we can do in the process builder as well. So in the process builder, after the immediate action, let me go here. So you have a scheduled action. If you click on this scheduled action, let me clone. So in the scheduled action, how many days? Okay, so I'll say that 10 days after we are on the account, let's say create a date. Click on save. Do I need to perform any action on the 10 days after? So I can say here action, create a record. After 10 days, create a record or send an email alert or a post a charter, right? So I can do all of this, which is possible in the process builder also. Like you can create a multiple scheduled action, 10 days, 5 days, 2 days, 1 day, after 1 day, everything you can create it.
And Swapna, one more thing. In process builder, we have create. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Actually, we have created on creation of account record. We have created contact record, right? If I have to do the similar kind of operation, is my two objects should be in any lookup relationship, or I can I can create for individual objects as well.
No, it has to have a relationship. So basically, process builder is whether it is a master detail relationship or a lookup relationship does not matter. So from the child to parent, parent to child, you can update it. That's possible with the process builder. Whereas with the workflow, only with the master details, if the relation is there, then only you can update from the child to parent. But process builder, you have whether it is a master detail or any lookup relationship, any relationship, you can update it. Individual cannot go.
Okay, it has to be in relationship.
Yeah.
Thanks, okay.
So that's all. But one more thing I wanted to show you. Let's say that right now you have created the process builder. Okay. Now tomorrow your company says that you wanted to migrate this process builder to Lightning Flows. How can you migrate it? So we have an option called migrate to flows. Migrate to flows. So when you click on a migrate to flows, it will give you what are the different automation tools that we have in the workflows and the process builder with active status. It will give you the list of it. It will give you the list of it. You can select here and you can migrate to flows. You can migrate to flows. Now, before migrating it, it will tell you that do you want to test your flow before migrating it? Yes, if I say yes, I wanted to see how it is going to look like my flow. So if you click on here, test in flow builder. So which one we have created? New position record we have created. So in the process builder, new position record, we have a position HR email ID not equal to null, position status equal to new, and date not equal to null. And then we are sending an email, we are updating the position status, and there is a time dependent. Now, how my flow is going to look like? Flow is going to look like this. Flow is going to look like this. Now, I'm going to cover the flows, but right now I just wanted to give you how can you migrate it. So basically it is whenever you are converting or whenever you are migrating your flows or a workflows or a process builder, it will always migrate it to the record triggered flow. It is always migrated to the record triggered flow, and it will check based on your workflow settings. In the workflow, we have mentioned is whenever the record is created. So that's the reason it is migrated, and it is saying that a record is created. Record is created, and the conditions which we have, HR email not equal to null, and position status equal to new, milestone date equal to null. So these are the conditions. Click on cancel. It will automatically convert into the record triggered flow. And run immediately. Yes, here is the run immediately. Because I have created an immediate action. Immediate action is to update the position status to in progress. That is this record. And sending an email alert is the second one. Which email am I sending it? Click on here and then click on edit element. Now you can see here, it is going to send an email, new position record. It is automatically taken that. And there is a scheduled one, scheduled path 1, scheduled path 2, scheduled path 3. For the path 3, we are updating the record and the path 4, right? And for the scheduled one, you need to check here whether it is a time is perfectly or not. So here just started the scheduled path, but you need to add the time, exact time for here. So what should be happen on this scheduled time that needs to be added here? Okay, 10 days before, 5 days before. What is the scheduled date? What is the scheduled date? Here is the scheduled path. Click on the edit. So you have a 2 scheduled path. So first path is a 2 days before. Second one is a 0 days after. Third one is a 1 day after. 5 days after. So there it is added here, scheduled path, that is also converted here. Perfectly, it looks fine. So I'm happy that I'm going to say that just close. Inactive. If you wanted to make your flow to be active, you can say that switch activation, otherwise close it. Now let's go ahead and click on switch to activation, and then active. It is active. Click on it, close. It is up. I have opened this. Now, in case if you have a record ID, some IDs or some hard-coded values, if you have that, it will not create it. It will not create. So there is a two flows it is created. One is, this is a new position record. New position record, it is created and it is inactivated your workflow and created the new position record and it is activated it. If I go to this flow, you can see that there is a record, there is a flow builder that is created with the active status. If you want to deactivate, you can deactivate it. So we will see more about the flow builders tomorrow. So in case if you wanted to activate it, you can check that. So let me delete the first one. Now, that's how you are going to migrate your process builder and workflows from workflows or process builder to the flows. Okay, but if you have a IDs, record ID or some hiring manager ID, some reference IDs or a custom hard-coded values or something, these kind of things are there, then it will not convert. So better instead of that, whenever it is giving a warning message, that means you need to manually go and create a flow. It is not possible to migrate it. Or else you update the workflow rule, remove that hard-coded IDs and record ID, wherever you are referencing the IDs, remove those fields and then migrate it. Clear? So that's all about today. So what did we learn today?
Automation process.
What is workflow? Types of workflows. Workflow rules.
And then we have seen the limitations of the workflows and what is a process builder, automation tool, and then we have seen the differences between the each automation. And then we have seen the migrate to flow. How can we migrate the workflows process builder to flow? And these are the trial heads. So please go through these trial heads. These are related to the workflows and the process builder, and also few of them has flows. So that's all for today.